God bless him. While we're here, stuck in this humidity in New Jersey, but we won't hold them. We won't hold that against him. And so I know many of you. There's a few new faces since last I've been here. Last time I was here was about 9 weeks ago before I gave birth. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Manu. I normally sing with the worship team, but I got knocked up, I gave birth, and I've been out for a few weeks. So hopefully in the next few weeks I'll be coming back. But a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, when JJ graduated the academy, Pastor asked me to cover for him. And I dismissively told him I would let him know, conceived the notion that there was no way I would be coming. I mean, how? I had a baby who then was just 4 weeks old, just over 4 weeks old, who loves to nurse and refuses to nap. And at the time Pastor asked me, John, my son, he was starting to sleep about 3 hours at a time at night, which translates to me sleeping about an hour and a half of cat napping, or for a quick nap or a quick snack, and catching up with unread text messages or trying to delete my 2,000 unread emails. So when Pastor asked me, hey, I need you to cover for me, I said, yeah, I'll let you know, knowing that I was going to tell him about a week, listen, I can't do it. But here I am, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. I was in prayer a lot about what to do for today. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to wake up early. My baby decided to sleep today until 7 in the morning, which is great, except I have to be up earlier to get ready to be here today. So what happened? Last Saturday, I had every intention of letting Pastor know that I wouldn't be able to cover for him today. I was exhausted and still had an infant who loves to nurse and loves to cuddle with mom at any day over being on the stream or taking a nap. For one reason or another, I didn't communicate this to Pastor. And it slipped my mind. So on Monday, I remembered that I had to speak to Pastor, knowing that time was of essence, and yet my phone was floating around the house somewhere. I wasn't sure where it was. And before I knew it, it was about 4:30 in the morning on Tuesday for the nursing session. On Tuesday, while unsuccessfully trying to put the baby down for a nap, feeling exhausted and defeated, I put on one of my current power songs. I have a playlist on YouTube, but depending on what mood I'm in, I'll put it on for a given time. So I was in need of my power song, and my current power song is I Will Rise by Andrew Day. It's not a Christian song, but it's a very inspirational song that at any given moment it could speak to me in one way or another. So I put it on as I was rocking the baby, nursing him, and I started to listen to it. I've listened to it hundreds and hundreds of times. But I've listened to it many times. And it's like reading a book or even a quote that, depending where you are in life, it speaks to you differently. That's what happened this time when I was listening to this song. That's why I'm here today. So during this rather unsuccessful napping session, as I listened to the song and I calmly sang it to John, I heard him. No, not the baby cooing or staring at me. I heard God letting me know that I had to be here today. This has happened to me in the past where I feel like God is speaking to me and letting me know that I had to do something that I didn't necessarily want to do. And I feel like there are some skeptics out there who wonder what heard means. So here I was singing and just humming a song to my baby, and I got this overwhelming feeling that I couldn't seem to shake. It's kind of like when you have a crush on someone and all you can do is think about that person, except that in this case, it's like a message that will leave you alone until you acknowledge it. So I nodded, acknowledging that I knew I had to do what I had to do, and shed a tear or two or three, knowing that God would sustain me in doing something that seemed rather rather overwhelming for me as a mom. When Pastor asked me to be here today, there were many, many, many reasons why I didn't want to do it, aside from being a new mom and getting cat naps here and there. I haven't been to church in about 9 weeks, like I said. I can't stand here and say that I've been reading the Bible or been keeping with a devotional. I barely remember to pray. It's just what I nurse. I thank God for my beautiful baby. I thank God for my beautiful little family, for the blessings I have, for the support system that I have through my family, my extended family at church. But I can't stand here and say I was in a very holy state of mind. I even remember to re-download my Bible app on my phone after I had to replace it a few months ago. Not only did I not feel prepared to be back here at the pulpit, but I'm not comfortable yet. I just had a baby. I still have 25 pounds left to lose. I'm in this place where my maternity stuff is starting to fit big, but my previous stuff doesn't fit quite yet. So it's kind of like a toss of what to wear. I was lucky if I could get more than 5 hours of sleep. And I just didn't feel like being here. My hair is usually a mess. I'm usually nursing or leaking. Or, I'm lucky if I remember to brush my teeth. I'm lucky if I'm able to take little bird baths. But I'm here. And I had to get over it. I had to get over it because God was telling me I had to rise up. I had to rise up through these obstacles. He was going to provide. I didn't know how he was going to provide. I was on about 3 hours of sleep when he was talking to me. And I said, all right, God, I'll leave it to you. I'll leave it to you, and I'll trust in you that you'll speak to me and you'll make this happen. As Andres Day's song began, the lyrics are how it starts. You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round. I'm crying because this speaks to me. And you can't find it tired, but it seems like we're going to walk it out and move mountains. And I felt like God was talking to me. I heard the song so many times, but this time he was talking to me. I couldn't find the fire inside. I didn't want to be here. I wanted sleep. I wanted to hold my baby. I wanted to nap in with my baby. But he told me, we're going to rise up and we're going to move mountains, because that's what I'm telling you we're going to do. I looked at my son, at my little JJ, and I thought about how God has blessed me in so many ways. And last year I got married, I got pregnant, I went on a wonderful honeymoon, got pregnant sometime after that. Had my son. This past year has been blessing upon blessing upon blessing. And as I thought about it, there's no way, after feeling what I felt, I couldn't be here. God has been present for me for so much. And to be here today, regardless of how I felt, regardless of how I was feeling, I have to show up for God. If not for each of you who are here to listen to whatever it is you need to hear from this message today, I needed to be here for God. So as the song continued, we're going to walk it out and move mountains. I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day, and I'll rise up, and I'll rise unafraid, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I've sang that to my son, because there is no way I would ever not rise up for him. Something about becoming a parent and feeling that love of having a child and seeing him even crying, and you just picking him up and knowing that my mother's love is comforting him. I'll do it 1,000 times over and over and over again until God allows me to do that for him. And I knew that God has done that for me. He has shown up for me so many times when I've asked him to show up for me. He has shown up for me when I least expected him to show up for me. And so we rose together. And I stared down at my sleeping son who was by then sleeping in my arms. And he looked so angelic, cuddled in my arms, as my tears slowly traveled down my cheeks. And I knew that I had to shake off my apprehensions of being here. And I had to be here, if not for Pastor, if not for anyone else, for God. I looked at my son and the blessing that God has given me. I thought about the wonderful husband I have, despite of how much he might get on my nerves. I thought about my job, and I might have complaints about my job, but I'm in a position to be able to take off 6 months to be home with my son. And looking down at the blessing I was holding in my arms, I didn't hesitate in letting God know that I was willing to rise up out of faith. But how? How, I asked God. How would I be able to get it done? The thing about faith is trusting God without knowing the outcome. And that's what's so hard. Because we like to control things. We like to control as much things as we can in our lives. And we can easily tell one another, you have to have faith. But by having faith, you have to trust in God, not knowing how He's going to deliver, not knowing what the outcome is going to be. So I didn't know when I would have the time to type this out, because I'm not a pastor who jots down notes and just stands here. He's been doing that for, he says, like 30 years or something. So I wasn't going to stand here and try to read it. I certainly didn't know when I would be able to sit down and meditate about the Bible verse. But what I did know by the end of that song was what I needed to talk about today. And that was what I was doing in that moment, rising up when it seems to be the hardest thing to do. The following 2 days, the baby's sleep pattern regressed a little bit. He was waking up every 2 to 3 hours after he had gotten me used to sleeping about 4 hours at a time. And I asked, dear Lord, when am I going to get this done? I asked God I got an immediate sense of peace. And that was letting me know that He was in control. And it wasn't one of those procrastinations, because we've all procrastinated at one time or another. When you procrastinate, you push things further and further out, thinking you have enough time, and then you start pushing it out because you want to avoid that sense of rushing, that sense of, oh my God, I need to get things done. And then before you know it, it's the night before, and you're breaking night, or you're overwhelmed with everything, knowing that you let it go on for too long. So it wasn't that. And I went to college 6, 7 years. I know what procrastination is. But I had a sense of peace. I had a sense of reassurance that things were going to get done. Thursday night, I put the baby to sleep. I asked God to please just let him sleep a little longer. And I fell asleep within an hour. I woke up about 4 hours later, panicked that I didn't hear the baby cry. But looking at the monitor, he seemed to still be sleeping. So I did what any mother would do. I got up, went to the nursery, and made sure he was breathing. And after confirming that he was breathing in this nice little swaddle, I touched him to make sure he wasn't cold. And when I touched him, he got startled. And I panicked a little bit, like, oh, dang, I wake him up. So I tiptoed, I rushed out, and I stared at him like a hawk in the monitor to see if he was going to wake up and start crying and I needed to be nursed. Within a half an hour, he was asleep, or I think he was asleep within 10 minutes. I fell asleep within half an hour. But while I was staring at the monitor, I was scrolling through Facebook, waiting for the baby to wake back up. And then I told myself, listen, you need to get it together. You have these down minutes. Do something productive with it. So I opened up my Bible app and I read. As I opened it, I read, because He loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for He acknowledges my name. He will call on me and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. And that spoke to me, because that was exactly what I was going through. That is exactly what He was telling me to do. He said, you showed up for me, now you need to trust me. I got your back. The baby settled back down and woke back up about 2 hours later, finally ready for a feeding. He nursed for about 20 minutes before falling back asleep, and I carefully put him back in his crib, tiptoed back to the room, and I was able to get almost 2 more hours of sleep. The baby woke up, ready for the day around 6:45. I grabbed him, took him to my bed for our morning cuddles, and happily nursed him as he slept for a total of about 7 hours straight. JJ got home around 7:30 in the morning from work and asked if we could stay in bed for a little bit to spend some time together. We've been working 12-hour shifts, which really means like 18-hour shifts. So he got home really tired. He wanted to spend time with us, knowing that we were just next to him. So I took the baby to bed, and we napped for another hour. Now, why do I say all this? If you remember, I said I hadn't gotten any sleep when I told God, I'll show up for you. Now, Thursday night, after he had slept even less, he slept the most he had slept since I had the baby. I needed the sleep so bad. I was a walking zombie who apparently always seemed to be angry, according to my husband. I didn't know how else to explain that I was simply exhausted and dreamed of having dreams again. But I trusted God, and I let things fall into place. I was able to get some sleep, find today's sermon text, and get this sermon done in a day. Now, I've stood here before. It's never taken me a day to figure it out. It takes at least a week of meditation before you feel God speaking to you. Pastor wanted to speak to me and have a meeting about where he wanted things to go or what his vision was for today's sermon. I didn't have time for that. I'm lucky to get some sleep. I'm like trying to stay awake talking to Pastor. But I knew that God had a message for today. And we can't control everything. I look at Pastor sometimes and I tell him, you can't control everything. I don't know what he's going to preach about. I don't know what he plans to preach about for the next few weeks. What I do know is that God wanted me to speak to you today about rising up when it's the hardest thing to do. When the easiest thing to do is turning around or going back to sleep or going back to something that you didn't want to be in. So I trusted God and I let things fall into place. And had I known that I would have to do this in a day when Pastor asked me, I definitely would have said absolutely not. There's a sense of spiritual responsibility, and for those who have been up here may understand that there's a sense of spiritual responsibility when you take the pulpit and you deliver a message to a group of people, no matter how small or big the group is. I knew that this was and would be speaking about, I knew that this is what I would be speaking about the day I told God, I'll rise up. And when I opened my daily verse and read, I will rescue him, I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. I took a breath of relief before I fell right asleep. These verses is what I was going through for the past few days. I decided to be here today for the love I've had for God, because I acknowledge that my many blessings he has given me are something that I don't necessarily deserve, but it's something that he wants to give me. And I called on him for help, and he answered me. And people always say, it's funny how things just fall into place, but I know that the funny part is God blessing your life and my life. So why today's sermon text was about my testimony of rising up for God, I don't know. I don't know why me figuring out whether to be here today or not became the topic of today's sermon. What I do know is that someone here today has to hear this. It's so easy not to rise up to when God calls us because he's not a physical being that we can see. It's easy to dismiss someone we cannot see or something that we can suppress. If our kids came to us asking for our help, we would rise up without hesitation. If our parents needed our help, we would rise up without thinking about it twice. So why is it that we are so stubborn when it comes to rising up for God, when it comes time to serving Him? Why are we so content in doing minimal work? Why are we content in living in a bubble of what we know with little to no effort of exploring anything outside of it? God has promised to rescue you because you love Him. He will protect you because you acknowledge His name. How great this promise is, yet how hard it is to manifest it in our lives. Acknowledging His name isn't simply saying, God, I know you're here, or I know you're there. Have you ever had a feeling of letting someone know something, but you were too afraid to do it? Over a year ago, I was at the Dollar Tree over here, waiting in line to pay, and I was on my way here for something. So I was picking up something real quick. And the man in front of me, while we were waiting in line to pay, he was buying groceries, and based on what he was purchasing, it seemed to me like he had young kids at home. I had this gut feeling to pay for his groceries and tell him that better days were to come, but I didn't do it. I didn't want to offend the man if I was wrong. I didn't want to seem silly in front of others around. I didn't gather the courage to do it. He paid and left. I paid, and as I was driving to church, I saw that he was walking to wherever his destination was with his several bags of groceries. And I thought about that man for several days after that. And I drove around hoping that I would run into him again so that I can give him this message I knew God wanted him to hear. And I knew I messed up. And I drove around and around to see if I could find him again, and I never did. I never did, and I regret not giving him that message I knew God wanted me to give him. Acknowledging God would have protected me of the regret, but it was a lesson I learned. Rising up isn't always easy. It takes courage to just go up to a stranger and say, hey, listen, I don't know you, but for whatever reason, I feel like God wants me to tell you X, Y, and Z. It's not easy. Sometimes you're tired, you're exhausted, you're so over everything, you're so over church, you're so over meetings, you're so over people at church, you're so over looking at Millie, and you're so over pastor telling you, listen, I need you for this committee and that committee, and I need you to come to this meeting on Tuesday, and can you come to this meeting on Thursday? It's exhausting. I get it. I absolutely get it. I would have loved to be sleeping last night rather than working on this for today or meditating for this for today. But I knew I had to rise up. I would have much rather been sleeping until 7 o'clock today, which I don't know if I'm going to do that. But I had to get up and rise up to be here today. How many times have we heard people complain about always helping somebody else, but they never seem to get the same help when it's time for them needing help? We complain about so many things that have been done to us, not realizing that we do it all the time to God. Now, I'm not saying you have to uproot your whole family and serve God unless that's what you feel you're being called to do. But sometimes we dismiss something just because it's easy to dismiss it. Because we want us time. Because I'm tired of church and I don't feel like going. But if there's an event going on, not feeling like going or having something to do is not showing up for God when He asks you to. Last year, the youth group, I guess I have a lot of little things that happened last year. The youth group had a rally, which they are having again this September. September what? Free promo, guys. But last year, which the youth is having again this year, the youth had a rally. And it was the first weekend of work for me. I teach every other Saturday at St. Peter's University. And it was that Saturday was going to be my first Saturday teaching. The youth rally was on Friday, right? So I told Pastor, listen, I don't think I'm going to be able to go. I have things to do. I have to get ready. I have to sleep. But then I felt guilty. And I said, all right, and I think we came to Maryland. I said, I'll just go for an hour. I said, I I felt guilty. I stayed at Marilyn's house. I live in Burlington Township, which is about 40 minutes south. I teach in St. Peter's, which is about 40 minutes north. So I said, I'm going to stay at Marilyn's house, and I'll go to the rally for about an hour, go back, relax, get some sleep. Decided to come here, and 3 hours later, we were still praising God together with the youth and rejoicing the promise of God's salvation. Instances like this is when you realize that you never know when God is going to move your heart. We prayed for the youth that day, and for those who were there can attest to this, that we noticed, we saw, we witnessed the hearts of the youth beginning to transform. And that is priceless when you're in a journey of spirituality and getting closer to God. Because when you're in a place where you don't feel like being somewhere, and you witness lives being changed, you see people being delivered from whatever it is they're holding on to. You see them breaking the chains of whatever has been dragging them down. These are youth. These are our teenagers, our 15, 16-year-olds who are walking around with chains, dragging them down, being delivered, and we were there to help them break those chains. That is priceless. Had I not felt guilty and decided to show up for God, to show up and support the youth, and stop my reasons of not being able to be here, I wouldn't have been able to witness that. Because in that, I am also growing as a Christian woman. He gives power to the weak and to those who have no might. He increases strength, says today's scripture. And here I am today by the grace of God, who gave me the strength to get here earlier than I thought. I was able to go and stop and get my coffee. My mom, who has been working for the past few Sundays, happened to not work today and said, of course I'll watch the baby. Before I was done getting ready, she had a breakfast sandwich packed for me, ready to go. So I got here earlier than expected, with a cup of coffee, haven't eaten a hot breakfast, knowing that my son was in good hands. The enemy will always try to play his part in bringing you down. So don't think that as you begin your journey of spirituality, things aren't going to happen. This is life. Things happen. When you're growing as trying to become a better person, there's something that's always going to try to regress you, try to bring you back into something that you don't want to be anymore. But you have to nip those things in the bud so that your high isn't broken. So this morning, I told you the baby slept longer than usual. So I could have been a little resentful at the fact that I couldn't sleep in anymore. But like I said, I knew I had to be here. I couldn't be mad at that. I could only be happy that the baby's sleeping and is getting better for now, and that perhaps I'll enjoy more sleep tomorrow. But for today, I wasn't going to be resentful about that because I had to be here for God. I had to iron my shirt. Where's the iron, JJ? Who knows? Somewhere around the house. But JJ had to sleep. I had to work overnight. Can't ask him then because he's not really checking his phone. I kind of forgot and meditated for today. And he comes home today at 7:30, and before the baby starts to nurse, about an hour later than I'm used to him nursing, JJ's asleep already. Where's the iron? I still don't know. But is a wrinkled shirt going to get me down? No, because I had to be here today. You can't let these little things that happen frustrate your life, frustrate you out of your spiritual journey, out of your spiritual high. So, could I have searched for a less wrinkled shirt? Perhaps, but like I said, I'm between sizes, so that would have taken another half an hour of finding something that I felt remotely comfortable in. So, a wrinkled shirt it was, and I didn't care. And God allowed me to not care. I remember what was important, and that was showing up. And it was funny because during today's prayer back there, Steve prayed that, hopefully we're able to get through today without Pastor. And I know days that Pastor's not here, we miss him and things aren't the same and blah, 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 but so what, you got me. And this is what God wanted you to have. God said, today is going to work, whether pastor is here or not, because we showed up. Each of you showed up. But is it a nicer beach day? Perhaps, but you're here today. Would I have rather slept in and maybe go to a diner and have breakfast with the family? Yeah, that would have been nice. But you did the thing that was slightly harder, and that was wake up slightly earlier, get perhaps a cup of coffee, and show up to church. Whether you were late or not, it doesn't matter because you showed up. He's here for you. Now, he wants to know, are you there for him? What is it that you are avoiding, that you are so afraid to rise up to? See, rising up doesn't just mean showing up for God. It means showing up for yourself, too. Like, why are you so afraid to let those chains go? Why are you so afraid of stepping up when you feel like it's time to step up? To make a change when you feel like it's time to make a change? God has promised you that he will be there for you if you have faith in him. Now you have to do what is a little harder and trusting in him. Blindly walking, knowing that he has your back. Blindly walking, not knowing what the outcome is going to be, but knowing that it will be by his grace of God that you will rise up through whatever storm it is you're going through. That you will rise up and get some sleep when you feel like all you have is meeting after meeting after meeting at church. That you have to trust that somebody else will rise up because you're so tired and it's time for somebody else to step up in church. You have to trust in God, but by doing that, you have to rise to the occasion. You have to show up. You have to be willing to show up, especially when it feels like it's the hardest thing to do. So I'll end it with how my power song ends. Just because I feel like it's a powerful message depending on where you are in life. And the song ends, I'll rise up high like the waves and I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up and